Welcome to ImpactX Media Studio, where we showcase entrepreneurs driving real world impact. Today, we are joined by Navkaran Singh Bagga, founder of Akvosphere, a company turning humidity in the air into clean, potable water. We'll explore their journey, innovative solutions, and how they're creating a culture of empowerment while scaling globally. Hi, Navkaran.
Hi, Arjun.
Yes, so we were very inspired to know your story and wanted to get you onto our platform as well. So this will be a candid inform kind of a conversation where we'll touch up on every point that we've given you as a framework, as well
Hmm,
as majorly have a open conversation about things. I'll tell you what we are into. So I'll give you an introduction, a 5 minutes introduction about what we do. We are
sure,
Impactex Media. We are a channel between impact startups and investors who come onto our platform and look at startups and their position in the market. We also are just a friend. We create a community out of you and give you the ecosystem that we are building one interview at a time. And we'll get you into that group of other impact practitioners. So, any ideas that your industry is having, you can have a good conversation within it. This is
sure,
a pro bono exercise because we are currently building the community. So, you are one of the first 100. We will be aiming to reach 100 in the next 6 months of interviews and then create a community of the first 100. And I think the community will grow from the quality of people we interview in the beginning, and then that quality will definitely be an approach which will be grown from the first 100. So
sure,
this is where we are, and ImpactX Media also has this ImpactX Studio product where we come in and we interview you. I am the founder of Idea Shacks Ventures, which is early stage investment fund, which is looking at the right startups to invest into pre-seed. I also represent a co-working brand which is based out of Delhi NCR. So we have three co-working spaces in India, Delhi, and then one coming up in Punjab as well now.
sure.
Um,
Okay,
and apart from that, impact is my happy moment where I get into conversations with people like you, learn from you, and share my thoughts on what you are creating and make you spread your word pro bono as a friend, right? So this is where I am, right? So welcome, Navkaran, and happy to have you on our podcast. So please give us an introduction about Akvosphere and what is the product, how does it impact the current environment, right?
so first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So a bit about what we do. Aquo is a company which builds, develops, and deploys technology where we capture the humidity in the air to
Right,
provide fresh, clean drinking water.
right,
It is basically an alternate source of water
right,
because we're all used to a certain kind of water, which is either ocean or river or groundwater or aquifers.
right,
Aqua captures into one of the biggest water sources out there, which is completely ignored, and that is the air around us.
right,
The air holds huge amounts of humidity,
right.
and that's what we do. So, if I wanted to draw parallels to make someone understand, our machines are to water what solar panels are to energy.
Okay,
Uh, So basically, just like solar panels capture the sun's rays and generate energy from it,
right.
similarly, our systems capture the humidity in the air to provide water, right?
Interesting. Right. So when you say water, it's potable water coming from the atmosphere and the environment where you are capturing that moisture from, and then you are able to create water that can be used in industries, homes, and
So
society.
ideally,
Hi, Navkaran.
hi Arjun.
Yes, so we were very inspired to know your story and wanted to get you onto our platform as well. So this will be a candid inform kind of a conversation where we'll touch up on every point that we've given you as a framework, as well
Hmm,
as majorly have a open conversation about things. I'll tell you what we are into. So I'll give you an introduction, a 5 minutes introduction about what we do. We are
Sure,
Impactex Media. We are a channel between impact startups and investors who come onto our platform and look at startups and their position in the market. We also are just a friend. We create a community out of you and give you the ecosystem that we are building one interview at a time. And we'll get you into that group of other impact practitioners. So, any ideas that your industry is having, you can have a good conversation within it. This is
sure,
a pro bono exercise because we are currently building the community. So, you are one of the first 100. We will be aiming to reach 100 in the next 6 months of interviews and then create a community of the first 100. And I think the community will grow from the quality of people we interview in the beginning, and then that quality will definitely be an approach which will be grown from the first 100. So
sure.
this is where we are, and ImpactX Media also has this ImpactX Studio product where we come in and we interview you. I am the founder of Idea Shacks Ventures, which is early stage investment fund, which is looking at the right startups to invest into pre-seed. I also represent a co-working brand which is based out of Delhi NCR. So we have three co-working spaces in India, Delhi, and then one coming up in Punjab as well now.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
and apart from that, impact is my happy moment where I get into conversations with people like you, learn from you, and share my thoughts on what you are creating and make you spread your word pro bono as a friend, right? So this is where I am, right? So welcome, Navkaran, and happy to have you on our podcast. So please give us an introduction about Akvosphere and what is the product, how does it impact the current environment, right?
So, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So, a bit about what we do. Akvo is a company which builds, develops, and deploys technology where we capture the humidity in the air to
Right,
provide fresh, clean drinking water.
right,
It is basically an alternate source of water
right,
because we're all used to a certain kind of water, which is either ocean or river or groundwater or aquifers.
right,
Aqua captures into one of the biggest water sources out there, which is completely ignored, and that is the air around us.
right,
The air holds huge amounts of humidity,
right.
and that's what we do. So, if I wanted to draw parallels to make someone understand, our machines are to water what solar panels are to energy.
Okay,
Uh, So, basically, just like solar panels capture the sun's rays and generate energy from it,
right.
similarly, our systems capture the humidity in the air to provide water, right?
Interesting. Right. So when you say water, it's potable water coming from the atmosphere and the environment where you are capturing that moisture from, and then you are able to create water that can be used in industries, homes, and
So
society.
ideally, we basically are talking about different. Obviously, it's a source of water, and we can utilize the water for various purposes. But today, compared to other water sources, our cost per liter is comparable to potable water, which is what we go after.
Amazing. So yeah, so I understood that you were aiming for the potable water that comes in the market, and then you are at the same price point for them, right? Uh,
Yeah. So currently, the effective use case is basically drinking water,
right,
and that's what we're going after.
right. So what has been your journey currently? So you have been in the business for how many years? What is the current state of the business? What is your current profitability numbers or any numbers that you would like to share?
So basically, we've been in the business for about 8 years now,
Right.
and we have roughly about 2,000 plus machines deployed in about 16 countries around the world.
Amazing.
Uh, we actively generate water upward of, with all our system deployed roughly about 300,000 liters of water every day from the air.
Right. Right.
Um, In terms of sales numbers, we have a lifetime sales of roughly about um, so since we do mostly projects, our lifetime sales are roughly about 38 crores till now.
Wow.
But it has been a lot of trying to create the category, get takers, so on and so forth. But now we're pretty, you know, ready to go up in terms of our revenue
Okay.
and our pipeline. This year, we should hopefully close it between anywhere between 10 to 12 crores in this financial year itself. And
Right.
we're basically going after now essentially what was earlier our capex play where we were selling equipment. Now, domestically, we work mostly with large corporates, and we're deploying our systems on an OpEx basis where they pay us per liter uh, consumed as compared to buying the asset outright.
Right, right. So that has actually made you ready for the next growth number, right? So you are now, since when have you become OpEx driven for the last how
So
many
we
years?
first started testing our OpEx for the last 18 months is when we really started our journey.
Right,
We're currently up to about 15,000 liters per day in OpEx.
right,
Uh, I target in this FY is to take that number up to roughly about 100,000 liters per day in
right,
OpEx.
right. So who are currently basically looking at your current product mix and everything, majorly, what are your markets? Are they India specific majorly, or is there a mix of international
No,
plus
so
India?
so
What is the
we're
percentage?
still roughly about 80% export dependent,
Right,
and 20% is India centric. We're pushing India more, and I think with India, that's why we're pushing OpEx more in India because we
right,
think that a capital equipment cost is something that people don't want to work with.
right,
And since 95% of our use cases mainly corporates,
right,
so even they're in a position to basically go for OpEx where they can trust the tech, pay only for what they consume,
right,
and then scale up depending on how they want it. So it's very similar to basically like you have rooftop solarization.
right.
We're doing rooftop water extraction.
Right. So what has been your investment journey till now? So you must have, I've seen that you've been in the media for a long time now.
Mm.
Obviously, you have done scaled up work. So obviously, there will be discovery. So let me
Mm.
know what your current scenario is about that.
In terms of fundraise,
Yes, in terms of fundraise, what have you
I'm
done?
very confused. So the honest problem here, Arjun, is that I'm a second generation entrepreneur and I've
Right.
uh, uh, have the capital wherewithal to run this myself. And
Amazing.
I
That's
keep
good.
and so I keep pumping in money, taking out money. I do, because we're a project company. So every two or
Right.
quarters or one bad quarter, I say bloody hell, enough of
Right.
my own money. I should raise external capital. And,
Right.
and then we and then we hit a point where we basically regenerate our orders and we're in a good
Correct.
direction. Like so, it's been a very bootstrapped, and basically when you're the difference between sometimes where I feel like why I want to raise money. I walked away from two rounds where I
Yeah.
pretty much confirmed and then didn't take it. Is uh, a I mean, this might come from a very egoistic place, but I've always been running the show at the
Right.
helm in terms of how we operate.
Correct.
And while I'm okay to take advice and seek advice, etc., but
Right.
taking on external fiscal responsibility is quite a big responsibility.
Yes.
And I didn't really want to take someone else's money and start playing with it in terms of चलो करके देखते हैं ना, let's try this model or let's try that
Obviously,
GTM
obviously, there should be a
because
why to
you
it.
see,
I agree.
yeah,
There should be a why
and
to it
and
for
it
you as well. Yeah.
and especially in our case where it's a category creation, in terms of creating awareness, etc., all of that. Um,
Mhm.
I don't want to be in a situation where there's a lot of pressure put on us because earlier when I first started this tech, to be honest, it was about equipment.
Right.
So then the mentality was that we need to manufacture more boxes, send more boxes, sell more boxes.
Mm.
And after the first 4 years, 5 years, I understood that it's not like that. And then we basically reoriented ourselves, our internal thinking to say that, look, we're not a product company, we're a project company, we're a solutions company, we deploy solutions.
Right.
Um, and and because of that, we were able to ease the pressure off us internally as well, right?
Mm.
Because otherwise we basically start looking at what is this month's invoicing. But we realize that in our line of work today, where we stand, uh, It's about scaling up to that invoicing using our proprietary equipment,
Right.
which we can capitalize, right? Instead of having to exert the pressure of trying to push sales. Because I did a lot of, so I, in the last 8 years, I've experimented with all kinds of GTMs,
Right.
sell machines, try to get the domestic
Right.
segment, try to put this, etc. And
Mm.
then about 3 years ago, I said, look, we're basically B2B. We're an enterprise solutions company. Stop trying to be everything for everyone.
Right.
And that's when we realized that work on our core tech, deploy it, work around it. So now
Right.
that we're going in that situation where, we will basically be deploying our own assets to generate income from. I
Hmm.
do see there might be a capital bottleneck
Might be. Right.
because, yeah,
But
but
it's a capital intensive question that you will raise then. So that will be a
yeah.
question
So
where
then maybe a bank would be able to come to my rescue better than
correct.
trying to take on. I do have a roadmap to basically extending valuation, and
Right.
I want to obviously at some point we put so much money into this and time and effort.
Right.
I want to at some point be able to unlock the real value that this has.
I
But
agree. So I think you are at this moment also structuring the business in the way you want to see it. So basically,
exactly.
the way you want is there is another argument that might come in when the investor starts putting money into the picture where that should not be the main focus. As long as I believe you are positive in your free cash flows, so you're okay, right? So you're okay with a monthly free cash flow for you to just have that innovation mindset that you can literally create that flow, right? Is that the truth of the deal?
That's a target actually, and you're right. You know what happened? I had a couple of bad experiences in the last 3 years, and not investor wise.
Yeah,
There was a lot of people who were basically, in complementary industries who I
right,
wanted to do,
right,
MOUs with or synergies with.
right,
And every time I was speaking to the founders and we'd finish off a call and assign an NDA,
right,
the conversation would fall off because every time we got in touch, they're like, sorry, we're in the middle of a fundraise. Sorry, we're in the middle of a fundraise.
right.
And I realized that the minute you've taken someone's money, I think it becomes more about raising the next round than running the business.
Correct.
And that really put me off because
Yeah,
I understand it gets different at a different level.
yeah,
But I think every particular founder I have spoken to over the last 5 years who's raised some amount of external capital
right.
is always in the middle of a fundraise. And that kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Puts you
understand the
off.
goal
Yeah,
there. I'm
obviously, we
sure,
come from a
yeah,
mindset, and that mindset also is a good mindset. Why go for this small private equity kind of an understanding where a lot of questions are making the roadmap go in the wrong direction, rather than you can go into an IPO directly one day when you can think. So that's also another camp that you can always look at as a creative thought, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
my target now is that I'm putting aside an ESOP pool, and I want to basically, at some point, help the people who help build Aqua with us to unlock value. Because my internal, the
Amazing.
idea of
Yeah, because
seeking
obviously you've reached that
external
critical point in your
validation
business. Yeah,
uh,
validation has
would
already
be
happened
where
in the
where
business.
they can benefit. See, as a founder, entrepreneur, whatever, I will be able to pull money out of the business anytime I want. The fact
Correct.
that I basically own 100% of the equity, but the people that are working with us are going to always be limited to the payrolls that they make, right? Uh, and at some point, once thing that kicks in, and I think it should be worth their effort over the long term that they
I
benefit out of.
I agree. So basically, one more from this, another question arises. So when you say a enterprise client you have, so
Hmm.
what kind of funds do you get? Is it CSR or is there their core
No, no.
business
So effectively, I
aligned
want
with
to
their
get
core
this clear
business?
because there's a good
Yes.
that through this podcast, I want to make one thing clear.
Yes.
People might assume that we are a direct impact product, but unfortunately, we're not a direct impact product.
Correct.
We're not a direct impact product from the simple perspective, or not a direct impact solution.
Hmm.
Is that we're not 100% renewable like solar.
Right.
Okay. The thing being that solar is basically just put a panel out there, let it put in the sunlight, it'll generate some power, and you'll do that.
Right. Right.
In our case, a huge critical part of running these systems is that they consume power to run
Right.
because you need to get something from something, right?
Correct.
So in that case, we can't ever be direct. We can't know. We have a product that's direct impact now called Helios, which I will talk about in a bit.
Mhm.
But in our case, we're talking about real on-site deployment in large-scale buildings where there are lots of people working.
Right.
So we are going after the 20-liter jars. we are not going after that one remote village where nobody has access to water, because if you don't have water, you don't have power. It's as simple as that, right?
Right.
So the impact how we're trying to make is our indirect impact. So let's assume, let's say huge corporate in Chennai, the entire corporate park we have, we're generating 30,000 liters of water from air every day
Right.
in that single location. Now,
Right.
30,000 liters in our case, if I look at translations per se,
Right.
is equal to about 150, no, 1,500 jars of the
Hmm.
20-liter jars that
Hmm.
they have.
Right.
So, A, we're getting rid of that.
Right.
We're getting rid of the transportation and cartage of those jars.
Yes.
At the same time, downstream, we're also getting rid of the ROs that they were basically
Right.
taking the water through. So,
Right.
this 30,000 liters from air probably has a direct impact of 65 to 70,000 liters of
Right.
water that would get wasted. And not to forget the carbon impact of the transportation of this
Yeah,
water.
the value chain of it. So the supply
So
chain.
we basically do a comparison that yes, we also have a carbon footprint, but compared to bottled water, our
Right.
carbon footprint is 30% of bottled water. So we're doing indirect impact. So no,
Yes.
we're not a rural solution. We are not
That
CSR
is,
funds.
so that is
We're
now how
basically,
we inspire impact. So we also are not into that way of defining impact. So basically, one of the impacts we interviewed also, so I'll give you an example, was a Jaipur watch company, right?
yeah,
Impact of it is to pick up the Indian design industry by saying that there is some Indian way of looking at heritage as well. What
sure.
you are looking at is so this is another impact that India needs to have. We should have more design schools which are celebrating Indian heritage. So it's not about, so what is impact, right? Currently, if you understand, so we are also in the question mark stage. All investors are also trying to understand what is impact, right? Every impact fund has their own formula of measuring impact. There's no standardization of this is impact, right? In the end, so the major understanding is the value chain and the carbon footprint that happens for the value chain upstream and downstream is what you're impacting at a very big scale for every small ticket size, right? Whatever enterprise ticket size that you're doing, right? Now, my another question to you then comes in, what is the smallest ticket size that you have delivered to till
So
now?
our smallest system is the 50 liter per day system, and we have quite a few of those deployed.
Okay.
But what we realize that, and this comes down to capital per se,
Right.
as a company, and see, there's a very big difference between the software and hardware.
Right.
Uh, and our scale is entirely going to be dependent on how we use our tech, what size we make our tech, how much can we deploy that tech.
Right.
Now, uh, if we basically try to go down the B2C market or the D2C market where the
Right.
consumers are concerned,
Mm.
it can be a big product cycle, but again, it comes with limitations. It requires a huge after sales service. Then I essentially become an appliance company and stop being a technology company.
Hmm.
Because the whole idea is that I'm basically selling microwaves and refrigerators. There's really no difference to what we do. And then it requires, you know,
A service
awareness,
next to it. A service
requires
next to it as well.
service, of course, but at the same time, awareness. Now, the end of the day, the idea is that you're a renewable technology, right? And basically, you've gone into someone's house and you've replaced their RO.
Right.
And today, aunties used to an RO which is on demand, and she says, "Ki aaj, out of this 50-liter machine, I only got 15 liters today because it was your low humidity."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's
that's a
that's
service-led, that
that's
is a vicious circle of going into the wrong roadmap, right? Maybe.
yeah, and not just that, because we're renewable, to create that awareness, saying that look, it was a dry day today and the output was much lower. Uh, so from that perspective, after having tried and push it down that market and doing a lot of effort around it, realize that this is something that I don't want to do.
Right.
It's not, and secondly, to be honest, the core technology of atmospheric water generation is pretty simplistic.
Right.
Um, and if today, we talk about the LGs of the world or the Kents of the world, etc.,
Right.
that they could be in this market if they wanted to tomorrow. So there was no
Right.
real moat around it.
Right.
So the moat we built is basically making our products smaller, making them micro in terms of being able to do large scale deployments in lower real estate,
Mm.
doing distributed water for large corporates, going
Right.
down the OpEx route in terms of building out, capitalizing our own asset because we manufacture our own systems.
Hmm.
So, from an end to end perspective, we design, develop, manufacture, deploy our own systems. So from a back end perspective, if we can achieve scale, we can easily break even on a system in about 15 months for a 5-year contract.
Right. So to break even within a 15 months, what is a large enterprise? So for you, when you define a roadmap for an enterprise, so what is that ticket size that you want to
So
go
we
into?
basically do not deploy anything less than 500 liters per day on capital
Correct. Understood.
consumption.
So this gets us into the clarity mode of what you're looking at,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah. So when you do a production of, so when you go from the order, when you get an order for a product, right, and you want to
Hmm.
do the whole process of deploying it at a location, right? So from the point of getting the order to deploying it and executing it, what are the steps that you take overall to do this product
So
deployment?
ideally, basically,
Right.
let's say you're a corporate, you come in, you say, I'm based out of Chennai.
Right.
We're looking at about 1,000 liters per day system.
Right.
So then our question is, firstly, are you looking to buy or are you looking to OPEX? A lot of them don't know that the OPEX route exists.
Right.
So we send both proposals in one proposal anyway. Even if they've asked for CapEx proposal, we send them both. So they
Right.
can see this is what their upfront is going to be versus what they need.
Right.
The second thing that we're overselling with our OPEX is, say, that if today Arjun bought a 1,000-liter machine,
Right.
uh, his output would vary dependent on the weather.
Hmm.
However, if Arjun contracted Aquo to be a 1,000-liter per day provider, then
Hmm.
Aqua would supply as many modules as required to give him 1,000 liters per day,
Right. So that what is your KPI? So yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my KPI basically is that I'm in your, you would probably buy 1,000 liters of install capacity, and my forecasting would say you require 2,000 liters, and I would go in and put into 1,000 liters of equipment on my own cost because I need to sell the water. Uh,
Right.
so that's one part of it. That's basically studying your consumer need. Uh,
Hmm.
the second part of it is once you said, okay, yeah, I think we're making a decision, then I have a project team who would go in, do a site assessment, understand where we can install the systems, is there any plumbing required, how would it need to be done.
Hmm.
Um, we would get that going.
Hmm.
Once you gave us a go ahead, we did take a security deposit from you for our systems.
Right.
As we'd have a 5-year contract, mostly boot. So we take a security deposit, 3-year contract, you can't exit the contract.
Hmm.
Uh, After the 37th month to the 60th month, you can end the contract, but depending on when you end it, we would retain a certain part of the security deposit and take our asset back. In the 5th year, 61st month, you get an option. You want to retain the asset, or do you want to basically uh, not renew the contract? If
Hmm.
you say no, we don't want to renew the contract, we're done. We basically return your security deposit, take our assets back because our systems are designed to last for about 10 years.
Right.
If you decide you want to retain the asset, we retain the security deposit
Hmm.
and deploy the asset. And then we have a contract where we charge you AMC, basically O&M per
Hmm.
liter generated.
Okay. Okay. Right.
So that's how it works.
Right. Right. So let me ask you another question. So basically, going back to your company structure and how you deploy and how your service levels are. So, what is the size of your company? What are the kind of people that I will get introduced to once I give an order? So, what are the teams that you have? So, what is the structure of your company? Would love to understand that as well.
So basically, as far as sales is concerned, there are only about 4 of us in the sales team.
Right.
I handle all international partnerships and sales myself.
Right.
I have 2 people in the domestic front, and I have one CRM.
Right.
This is my sales team.
Right.
Then I have a CEO, Ashish, uh, and then we have the operation staff, and then we have a separate project team. The
Right.
project team is
Got
basically run by a project manager who has a team of roughly about 9 technicians around different cities in India
it.
who would go in and then deploy those systems.
And you can always on the fly create that local team because you have your learning curve already solved through processes defined and easy to make new
Yeah,
team.
it's a lot easier. And secondly, a huge part of why we essentially call ourselves a technology company is because we've really built the ecosystem around it. So
Right.
all our systems are 100% IoT GSM embedded. We
Right.
remotely monitor our systems. We know what's wrong when there is wrong. We use the same systems to use for billing, for service technicians. So our machines are ideally talking to us at all times. Um, and because of that, we don't really need to have too much of a big fleet because most of our maintenance is preventive
Right.
because we know exactly how things are working.
So you have in sensors also deployed in your machines to
Oh,
give.
absolutely.
Yeah, great, 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 great.
Absolutely.
And also, do you measure your carbon credits?
So ideally, I've been toying around this for the last 2 years. There is a way to do it. There's a methodology. Carbon credits are very subjective because everything has to be done on a project to project basis. Now there are certain thumbnails, there are certain thumb rules to be used. In
Right,
our case, the thumb rule is dependent on a few factors. See, ideally, it's been validated globally what is the real carbon footprint or the carbon footprint of bottled water. So
correct,
it stands roughly at about, I think, 200 and maybe 280 or 400 grams of CO2 per
right,
liter of water.
right,
Now, in our case, there's a certain kind of back calculation required because we do depend on grid power.
right,
Now, depending on where we are, our power consumption will vary.
right.
Secondly, it will also depend on which state we are, what is the input source of power, how much of it is gray, how much power is green. Then we'll basically arrive at what is our actual carbon footprint.
Correct. So looking at this concept, basically carbon credits is a new conversation that for India, obviously,
Hmm.
for India, it
Hmm.
is getting structured now. We have one of the startups who have already interviewed with me. You must have seen some last interviews, the recent interviews, one Abhimanyu Rathi from Renew Cred. Uh,
Hmm.
he's building a very nice structured approach to a validated way of looking at carbon credits in your whole value chain. So it does not mean that only the end product is the carbon credit that you measure on. Obviously, you will go upstream and downstream to understand anything that can be picked up and converted into some value for you, right? So this is something that we can always connect you with. So that's another
Sure.
guy.
Yeah.
You will love to have
So
that
because
conversation.
the lack of a good direction in this, because I know a lot of people have said what you're talking about is called an LCA, a
Yeah,
life
yeah, yeah.
cycle assessment,
Yes,
where they basically look at the entire life cycle.
right.
But not being able to look at the right people in terms of this, because we'd really like to do that. And
Yeah,
in our case, even more so now, because at the end of the day, the asset deployed is ours. So
agree.
the carbon credits actually belong to me.
Correct. And they, so basically, we also operate our co-working spaces. So you'll see that every co-working space of ours has 60% of renewable energy to generate their electricity.
Sure.
So majorly, we are also deploying it. So it was very useful for us to understand how we could monetize on this and how could we actually look at depreciation as well as the gain of so two-side approach to get gains for the company and its efforts, right? So this is where we
Exactly.
are standing as well. So I'll get you introduced. So that will be
No,
a
that'd be great.
on LinkedIn, right?
Thanks, Arjun.
So and apart from that, so coming back to the qualitative questions of our podcast. So
Hmm.
looking at your team structure, you must have gone through ups and downs. You must have looked at the trials and tribulations of bootstrap business. The even if you are the second generation, even then there are a lot of challenges everyone goes through, from the point of the way you want to reinvent yourself, the way you want to look at the product in the next round of when you are the driver of it. So what has been the journey from a qualitative perspective? What have you faced? What have you dealt with challenges for? What are the highlights for you in the journey of a startup, which might become valuable for other startups to look at, right? So your journey might be inspiring for others as well. So that's one question that will end this interview with a happy thought of what you have looked at as your journey.
So essentially, my understanding with regards to people is that, and there's only one word that comes in my mind, that's empowerment. Um, and I use this HR Bible. It's this book by Ricardo Semler called Maverick.
Right.
Um,
Right.
uh,
Yes. Yeah.
and that is my HR Bible. And I've been trying to incorporate that in the organization for the last since before I even started Akvo. The whole idea was to basically empower people, try and be transparent, try and be democratic, have trust at the same time. Because I believe personally, my HR, if I had to say my HR practice in one line, it would be that you can provide skill to anybody, you can't provide intent.
Hmm.
So I would pick intent over skill any day.
Right.
So I always work towards finding people who are well intentioned in terms of what they want to achieve.
Right.
The rest will follow. Yes, it's been a madhouse. Yes, we just recently, moved our factory from Calcutta to Chennai. and I have
Right.
a brand new team there. And this is also simply like a gamble, right? Because you will get some great people, and you will find those one or two people who eventually don't fit the culture.
Right.
But the whole idea of depending on Maverick is that you build such strong culture that
Hmm.
the people who don't belong automatically get weeded out. You don't have to do it,
Right.
right? So you attract the same kind of people where you build ownership, where people are empowered, where people have the right intentions in place. So I think my key learning with regards to people has always been that. And honestly speaking, as an entrepreneur, I think I'm quite lazy. Not in
Right.
a manner that I can't do everything that the company does. I just find some things that are I just find some things that are quite boring and mundane.
Right.
So I don't want to be planning budgeting. I don't want to be planning finances. I want to be looking at innovation. So find the right people who do the right things.
Right.
Uh, and work towards that. So yeah, and there's one more thing that I really encourage in my team is dissent.
Hmm.
And the minute somebody is a yes man, he's basically on my hit list,
Right.
because if you basically agree to everything I say, then you don't belong. Uh, and that's very important for me, that people put up a fight, have an argument, find out that they basically uh, probably basically at the end of the day, especially from an employee perspective, and not I'm talking about from a promoter led or a entrepreneur, if a 100% shareholding led company, Fetly,
Right.
if somebody is willing to argue with you, fight with you, or have a or dissent with you on a matter that uh, honestly does not have any material impact on them directly.
Right.
uh,
Right.
that is very that has a huge implication, right? Because today, if something goes wrong,
Hmm.
uh, then effectively the biggest loser is me. But if somebody's fighting with me for me, I think that's phenomenal.
Hmm.
So to have that, where people put in that kind of effort, where they believe that they're doing something good and their intentions are to protect you,
Right.
I think that is extremely important.
Correct. So intention can always drive resilience in a business, right? So that is something that I have seen happening with a lot of businesses, and I think culture stands in the middle of everything. If you are able to build a team which believes in your intent, there is a North Star they are also working with. I think that is the way, that is the place where your startup starts showing the flow of positive actions, and you are not involved in the day to day. You're able to delegate. So in my organizations and what I've learned from other people also, it's like whatever is repetitive and whatever from the process point should be automated or delegated. It should not and everyone's responsibility is to do it. So at the lowest level, if somebody is looking at just the lights of a building, right, they should be able to automate that they are able to save some time to move on to other tasks as well, so they can improve their quality. So this way I think culture drives everything else, and culture can be driven through, I believe, from my side, a North Star. And from your side, obviously, you're providing the North Star. But apart from that, everything else is the ownership of the people and the honesty of the people. And you look at honesty instead of just plain yes manship. So that's a great insight, I think. Great talking to you. It was a pleasure to take you on this. And so thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Arjun. It was a lot of fun. Thanks.
It was
Take
as
care.
well on my side as well. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
That's a wrap with Navkaran Singh Bagga and Akvosphere. From transforming air into water to building a strong, innovative team, their story shows how technology and intent can create real impact. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow ImpactX Media for more inspiring journeys like this.